Hello, my name is Layla. I'm the wine director at Reid's Fine Foods and Reid's Runaway Gourmet. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Layla.
It's so good to have you back. You know, here at Reid's, we're gearing up towards the holidays. We completed a fabulous Thanksgiving dinner,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
now we are going to the Christmas dinner. So I know that there are going to be a couple of additions to our menu for the holidays that we
Yes, ma'am.
offer to our wonderful customers, and they will have a choice either to buy it already prepared by us or follow our recipe, buy the meat. After all, Reid's is so famous for the
Yes, ma'am.
meats that they can do it at home as well. All we're trying to do is make it as easy as possible for you. There is enough stress cooking for a large family.
Yes.
So what do
Trying to
you
make
have for us today?
All right, today we're going to do a little bit something different than what you would normally think of a Christmas dinner. We're going to do a porcini rub tenderloin. What I've done here is I've took the liberty of salting this overnight. You salt it a day before, 6 hours up to 24 hours, because when you salt it, it'll also season it, but it'll help pull some of the moisture out, because we're about to sear it, so you want a nice dry piece of meat so you can sear well. Also pulled it out a little bit early so it comes to room temp, and that way it'll cook more evenly. But I salted it yesterday, and then this morning I took some dry porcinis. You want to make sure they're really dry.
Are we using porcinis or are we using morels? Is there a choice for the consumer? Some people will like.
There's a choice. I like to mix. It gives you a little bit more flavor.
Uh-huh.
Morels, I like. They have a little bit more depth than a porcini, so I decided to take the liberty to do half and half.
Half and half? Wonderful.
Yes,
oh my God.
And you take it into a spice grinder, and that's why you want them really dry. So when you put them in the spice grinder, you're going to add rosemary to it.
Fresh rosemary.
Fresh rosemary. And then you're going to take fresh black peppers. And when you puree it, you're going to want the mushrooms dry.
Okay, yeah.
So it turns
it's
into
a really
dust.
nice powder,
Yes,
basically.
Definitely. And then,
so after that, after you take your tenderloin from the fridge, you're going to
rub it
and crust it, basically.
One easy way of doing it, I've learned from the butchers here, is you can rub it, and then the access that you'll have on your cutting board, you can just roll it across, and you'll get an even coat on it.
Yeah.
So what you want?
These are the little, tips that
definitely. Instead of trying to take the time to make it even, if you just rub it on the access, you'll get a fully nice crust. And what I've done is I like using a heavy saute pan. You can use your regular saute pan or whatever pan you have that you can put on the stove to get the high temp. And you want to wait. Once you see that smoke is when you're going to know you're ready to sear, because you just want a quick crust on the meat. So you throw it in, keep it on low heat. You don't need to keep it on high. Once you get it hot, you're pretty much comfortable if you have a heavy pan.
Right.
And you're just going to sear each side really fast. It only takes a couple minutes. Just keep turning it.
So turning a quarter at a time.
A quarter. You want to sear every side of the meat, lock in all the juices and get a nice crust on it. And it only takes about a minute and a half, and you can see how you'll start seeing that brown. You want that nice crust on it. And then once you have all your sides seared, I transfer it into an oven-safe dish.
Now, do we need to preheat the oven, obviously?
Yes, ma'am, definitely. I have the oven preheated to 400.
400.
It's a little bit higher than what you're going to think, but since you're already searing it, it's not going to take very long to cook. We're going to mid-rare today, which is about 30 minutes. I would highly recommend keeping a thermometer with you. You want to reach 125 is going to be your mid-rare.
That's very important.
So you want to get right around 125. And once you
125.
have all your sides seared, you just take it to an oven-safe container, a casserole dish or anything. Right now I'm going to use just your regular Lacoste roasting pan. You want to take that, transfer that into an oven-safe dish, and then you're just going to pop it in the oven.
Right.
Like I said, for 30 minutes or to 125, depending on what your preference is. If you want medium, it'll be right around 130. If you want mid-well, it'll be right around 140. So keep the thermometer on you.
125, 130, and 140 for well done.
And then what we're going to do for a sauce with this is we're going to make a port and red wine sauce. So after you're done searing, you're gonna keep the same pan because all these
all
little bits,
the little bits,
little bits, what we call fondant is what you want.
Yep.
And then you're gonna start. I have 1 cup of port wine and 1 cup of red wine. You can also use a Madeira. It'll give you a really good,
different flavor too, like that.
Feel free. I mean, you can
experiment.
Yeah, experiment. That's what cooking is. We're just trying to show you a way, make it your own, your preferences. So I got it off. I don't want it too hot right now because I don't want to burn the wine that I'm going to put in. But you'll see as soon as you pour it in,
all those little bits and pieces start lifting. Yeah.
So then I'll turn the heat back on.
So you basically get deglaze in the pan.
You're deglazing, yes.
Yeah.
And
the alcohol is going to evaporate.
It'll cook out in about a minute, minute and a half. Your alcohol will be cooked out. Earlier I took some morels, just morels, not porcinis this time, and we rehydrated them.
Okay.
You just take hot water, hot tap water. You leave it in the hot water for about 15 to 20 minutes. They'll reconstitute and they'll become soft. And you're just going to chop them up, fine dice them. I add those in while you keep stirring. We have very small minced shallot. And be careful, you will get a little flambe, but that's just the alcohol cooking off of your wine. It's not anything that you should be worried about. You can turn the heat off and just wait for it to burn out. I have 1 shallot that I minced really small that we're going to add in. And you're just going to let this reduce. And now that that alcohol is cooked off, the water that I saved from the mushrooms is the key secret to this. You never want to discard it. It's got a lot of flavor in it.
That's golden.
So we have 1 cup of the morel water, pretty much, essentially. And you'll add that. And what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to reduce this to half. Now, just to speed up the process, I took the liberty of already doing it. I've reduced this by half. You're going to want to strain it so you get all the small pieces, all the shallots and stuff out so you have a nice smooth sauce. And I just strained it into a small saucepan. What you're going to do at this point is you want to heat it up and get it nice and warm. Judging on your preference, I like a little bit more rich of a sauce, so I have right around 3 tablespoons of butter. You're just going to add them 1 at a time, and then you'll just want to whisk that in. It'll give you a nice depth, rich flavor. It'll make it almost like a... It
will change the color too, the consistency and everything. Right. So you're going to pour that over the phenomenal tenderloin.
So just very quickly, I mean, it's not going to take you very much time to whisk these in.
Now remember that we gave you a choice of 2 red wines. One was a Cabernet Sauvignon from Happy Canyon called Three Saints Vineyard, and that was phenomenal. You know, affordable as well. Or we also show you the Hill State Red Blend, which is a blend of 4 grapes. They both will create that wow moment that we always look for when the food and the wine come together and is wow.
Yes,
and that's what we're looking here.
All right, and our sauce is nice and rich now.
Yeah,
you're going to have
the wonderful color.
Definitely.
I mean, you can see the difference between one and the other.
Exactly.
Because what happens is the butter has changed.
Yes, ma'am.
The color, the consistency.
You're pretty much mounded it in. It's going to give you what we would call a nappe consistency. It should coat a spoon when you pour it. You should be able to see it stuck to the spoon. Makes it thicker.
So that means that it's ready.
Yes, ma'am. And then we already have 1 tenderloin in that we did a little ahead of time to speed it up. And one thing we did here is something you can think about doing. We took our carrots and added it to our dish and just put our filet on top of it. That way you're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You have your roasted veg now and you have your filet. I suggest just serving it as is, family style, and then I would take a little bit of your sauce and just pour it over. When you get to the table, give you that wow factor and it'll give you that nice shine on it. And then the sauce you have, just leave that. You can put it in a little ramekin and put it on the table, and that way everyone gets their own sauce.
So you get this beautiful golden tenderloin that is, you know, when you put that fabulous sauce over it. I think we can call it sauce, not
Oh,
gravy.
yes, ma'am.
This is a sauce.
It's definitely a
and
sauce.
then all your roasted vegetables underneath. That is not just a Christmas dinner, but this is something you can do for friends, you know, whatever year round is.
And it's an easy dish that'll make you once again look like a professional.
Exactly. You gave us a couple of great tips.
Yes, ma'am.
They will make this easier for everyone to duplicate at home. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Layla.
You did it again.
Yes, ma'am.